Love is in the air, but making it real and making it last aren't always the same. From everyday people to A-list celebrities, cheating doesn't have to be the last chapter. I'm a soldier of love. Every day and night. Sade sang about love on the front lines. Now for celebrities, their love lives are increasingly on Front Street. Mega hot Cardi B was still celebrating her engagement to Migos rapper Offset when other women posted their sex tapes with him. Cardi responded that cheating happens to everyone. Why start over with someone else? Celebrities can influence our relationships, says Essence Magazine's senior editor Charreah Jackson.
We know that people are watching what celebrities do more than ever, so it definitely has an impact to see what are your favorite celebrities, your favorite singer, your favorite actor, what's happening in their home definitely can normalize things that happen in your home.
Cheating scandals, think Tiger Woods, used to mean shame in divorce court, but no more. Actress Gabrielle Union went on to marry NBA star Dwayne Wade even after he confessed he had a baby with another woman. Lala Anthony is estranged from husband Carmelo after he reportedly fathered a child with his alleged mistress. And it's not just celebrities.
Believe it or not, 9 times out of 10, the people, as of lately are staying around. You're presenting them with some pretty good evidence, some solid facts that this occurred, and they're basically just saying, I'm already invested, I have nowhere to go, or whatever rationale they're using, or what did I do? A lot of times I hear that, they blame themselves. I must have done something to cause them to go out and do this, but ultimately they stay together.
We all lose when the family feuds.
Jay-Z and Beyonce may be the most high-profile couple to stay together through the tough times and make chart-topping albums and millions of dollars along the way. First Beyonce's Lemonade, and then Jay's 444.
One of the things I really was excited to see this year was with Jay-Z's 444 album, with it being Grammy nominated, with us seeing one of the most popular men in the world talk openly about restoring his relationship after infidelity.
Jackson believes if the couple gets to the root cause of the cheating, they can rekindle their love. But private investigator McCall disagrees.
My honest opinion is once a cheater, always a cheater. Never going to change. Possibility of a person doing it again is pretty high.
There are ways to keep your relationship on track. Let's find out what our panel has to say. Joining me is Jack A. Daniels. Yes, that's his real name, he says. He is a celebrity therapist and author and TV host of Black Love. Jack, great to have you with us.
It's good to be here. I'm excited.
No, we are too. We are too.
Yeah.
We got a lot to talk about. Also with us is Anais. She's a star of Love and Hip Hop New York. She's also an artist. Anais, great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being with us. Also with us is Pat McCall. He's a private investigator. He's also the CEO of the McCall Risk Group. Pat, great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me, Lisa.
And also with us is Charreah Jackson. She's a senior editor of Essence Magazine. She's a relationship expert, and she has a new book coming out called Boss Bride. Charreah, great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me, Lisa.
Charreah, I want to start with you because you write about a lot of these celebrities, interview them, and talk about the whole relationship, love, marriage, and what comes after that. Is this a new trend?
No, Lisa. I'm just playing. I'm not finished.
you look at Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union.
Yes.
You look at all of these different couples, and they stay together.
Well, definitely cheating is happening. What I'm saying is it's not new. So what has changed is our technology. What has changed is that we have the access with our fingertips to be in everybody's business. So definitely some of your grandmother's favorite stars were getting cheated on, sadly, but now we're just all up in everybody's business. So it does put the pressure on people. It's one thing if only you and I know and your mom and sisters, but it's another thing when the entire world now knows. So we do see an added pressure for couples having to navigate the realities of going through that infidelity, of the hurt, because we know cheating is just a symptom. It is not a problem. Cheating is a cough. And so you still have to get to those underlying issues, what got us to where you felt unsafe to be unfaithful.
All right, we're gonna get into that. Anais, we've gone through your relationship ups and downs, your marriage, Ruben showing up, Rich Dollars, the whole thing on Love and Hip Hop. What do you think about the attitudes towards cheating or just towards having extramarital affairs?
Like she said,
because your business is on Front Street.
Finally, somebody said it's a symptom. So I was going through something. I was feeling some type of way. It's just, I decided to put it out there because it's like she says, it's normal. So a lot of people will look at me like, oh, you're not scared of saying your story and people knowing your business on TV. I'm like, it's part of me. Regardless of life is going to show what we've been through. Me and my husband, if I don't say what we've been through, people's going to know regardless. And like you said, I decided to say say it more because I want people to learn from the situation more than to do it. You know, that to be an example. Like, I don't want to be a bad example, but I at the same time I do, because I want people to see my story and learn from TV. I didn't come out and be like, you know what, I want people to look at me as a cheater. No, I want people to see, like, you look, I'm an artist, I go through these things, and it's normal. When you be in a relationship for years, I wanted people to know my personal side.
And what do you think was the underlying issue for you? Because I saw you shaking your head when Charreah was saying that.
Like, it's part of life. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a symptom. It's like a cold. Like, everybody expects a cold in the wintertime. So if you're in a relationship, if you're in a relationship and you don't expect to be cheated on or cheat on, then you must be wrong. You gotta wait for it sooner or later. Or if it doesn't happen, then lucky you.
It's inevitable. Jack A. Daniels, you're the therapist here. You're the psychotherapist here. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you know, so let me say this first. Good
and
people,
we're not judging anybody.
No,
we're just talking about
there's no
something that has happened since probably the beginning of time.
So the first thing I say, good people sometimes make bad decisions. And the one thing that we're talking about symptoms, it's not so much about the symptoms, it's about the cause of the symptoms. Because you can catch a cold, but what actually allows you to catch that cold?
So in your practice, what has been the main reason that people stray from the person that they're married to?
I've counseled and coached hundreds of couples and singles, and I'll tell you, there's one common denominator. Now, they don't say it like this, but this is the common denominator. It's always the fact that something made me feel alive. And when I say that, it's not boredom. It's more so like, you know, maybe it's boredom. Maybe it's this sentiment that I'm not having fun anymore in my relationship. I don't feel like I'm enough. I don't feel if I'm worthy. I don't feel like we're connected. It's the feeling of aliveness that gives people the validity to say. That excitement. Yeah, to say that, you know, this is the reason why I'm straying away. Now, that's not the absolute cause, because there's some other things that are going on underneath the surface of who that person is. But I'll tell you, it really boils down to, I wanted to feel alive for whatever that moment was.
Okay, Pat, you're a private investigator. You've been doing this for like over 14 years. You've investigated for many people who have feel a spouse is cheating on them and done all types of things. What is your take on this when you see this happening? Is this a common phenomenon?
It's a very, very common phenomenon. I think in later years now, it's a little bit more out in the open due to social media, whether it be a celebrity or just a regular person. But I feel that the temptations are there, and people are now acting on those temptations.
And what kinds of things have you caught people doing?
I mean, everything from guys setting up women in other states in apartments, cars, jobs, to women doing the same as well. But mostly with the men in those situations.
Ruben, I will kill you.
So, but, like living parallel lives, even
I mean,
where they had like kids in a family, and like kids going to a soccer game in another city.
As far as the guys having telling a young lady his name is such and such, and having a fake social media account, whether it be Facebook or Instagram, set up, and he works at this particular job. Meanwhile, he's a totally different person with a family and kids out on Long Island, but he has a girlfriend in the city that thinks he's a single guy.
She's the only one. She's the one and only.
She has no clue.
Well, what about Charreah? And everybody, please feel free to jump in.
Well, I definitely want to jump in on this piece, because I think you hit an important point. Was talking about some people can afford to cheat. So we know that women are cheating more, not in equal numbers, but the reality is they can afford to. The reality is that now, because women have more, professional opportunities, that if we break up, I would be okay to go on by myself, versus for generations before us, that wasn't really an option, because if it
where the women stayed with the men because they needed the support, and now the women have their own careers.
I also want to ask, is it true that a lot of guys, when they're at a certain age, they cheat because they don't want to feel like you say, they're not full of life? Yeah, they cheat. It's they espouse,
or they feel like time is passing them by.
They want to know if they still have it.
So let me say, it's not an
women too.
Women do it as well. I will tell you that women are
good to know. So when I get a certain age.
No, it's not an age thing, and that's the thing that I want to point out. It's definitely not an age thing. It's a cause thing, and you have to evaluate who you are and what you're going through, and some of the things like underneath that you're enduring and that you actually want. Most people are afraid to actually say what they want. So if you don't know what you require, what you need, and what you want, you're simply going to go from person to person to person without validating
understanding
and understanding who it is that you are and what it is that you want.
I want to come back to that. I also want to get into some of these celebrity situations as well. This is Street Soldiers, a special Love Soldiers episode. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. We'll be back right after this.
Deep in you love your spouse, your significant other, but in your head, it's, because of your vision, you have the hots for the other person.
In terms of the celebrities, though, is there a certain level when there's a lot of money, there's a lot of fame, there's children involved, where it makes sense for them to take somebody back? What do you think?
You know what it is as a celebrity? We have to be careful for a lot of things. Like, we have to be very private, and we have to protect ourselves and our family. So a lot of times it's kind of hard for you to be around single people and hot-looking people. So when you see them and they want you and they there, it's tempting because you have it hard. Because let's say as a celebrity you want to go outside, you want to have dinner, but you by yourself. But you are famous and you have a family or whatever, and nobody really knows you separated.
And everybody has a cell phone watching you.
And you probably separated. You're probably not even with your wife, but it's gonna be hard for you to try and talk to another person because it's like, oh look, that person is trying to talk to, like people's gonna talk. But if you famous and you one-to-one and there's nobody around you and that person wants you, you're gonna go for it.
Yeah, I definitely think we definitely see higher pressure on them, but we also, to your point, they have more to fight for, especially when you've integrated your families, when you brought up the cases of Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, Beyonce and Jay-Z. But I do think it's important to say for both of those cases, the spotlight is on them so hard now, it'd be hard for those men to cheat again. So even though we know of past indiscretions, I think because people have kind of know where you are, know it's happened, it's just a higher stake game for them to gamble.
Pat, what about that? When you're that famous, is it hard to cheat? But if you have enough money, can't you protect yourself?
I think it's hard to cheat, and I think a lot of people in these situations, it's not the first time. This is just the first time they were called out or put out there about it. I think that they probably have had other stuff going on, and this is the first time they like I said, were caught out there with it. But I think that there probably is a little bit of difficulty in cheating when you're a known or you have a known status.
And look at this with Cardi B and Offset. We see this romantic engagement. Everybody loved it. It was at the concert. Then comes another woman with a sex tape, and Cardi responds with her own. What do you think about that, Jack? And everybody, please feel free to jump in.
Yeah, I think people are people, and people make mistakes sometimes. And I think that the higher your profile is, the more public other people are into whatever it is that you're doing. And I think that happens to normal, regular, everyday people as well. So it's just that, hey, you invited the world into this versus Shaquanda, LaToya, and the girl from the third floor. So I think that, yes, there's a little bit more pressure when you start having like all of these different people that actually have an opinion, and now you have social media where everyone can chime in. I always call social media like the annoying person that just interrupts your day at any given time. And I think that when you have thousands of people like that, I think that it adds a lot more pressure to the relationship, especially when it comes to trying to reconcile it.
Anais, what's happened with your relationship, with your marriage, and what effect did that have? That episode where Ruben shows up and then confronts you about rich dollars, because your mother as well. What effect has that had on your marriage? Because I'm sure that was filmed a long time ago.
Yeah, it affected us a lot, especially to see the scene, because you go through things in life, but when you see it, it's different. You're like, oh my God, that was us. But we worked on it, and that episode made us realize, like, we were going through rough times at that time, and that episode really helped us to come and get together and be like, you know what, we're being messy, and what's really important, and is this really worth it? So after that episode, that's when we really sat down and we talked production, everybody, and we decided that we was gonna make things work for us. Like, to this point, like not too long ago, we were shaky. We didn't know what we were gonna do. I was gonna get separated, and it just helped us. Like, to realize. So sometimes you have to step back, and when it comes to cheating, it's more an emotional, a mind thing than emotional. Like, because deep in you love your spouse, your significant other, but in your head, it's because of your vision, you have the hots for the other person. So you're not you got to really pay attention to these things.
What about normalizing cheating? Have we gotten so accustomed to it happening in marriages, even people having children, having babies with other partners, that it's no longer a shocking thing, Jack?
Yeah, listen, cheating has been going on since the beginning of time. I mean, you got to look at, even in the Bible, they had like 2 commandments that dealt with cheating. One was, thou shalt not commit adultery, or thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. So it was like 2 commandments out of the 10.
And then thou shalt not kill.
And thou shalt not,
like you can't look at the spouse of the other.
Yeah, so when you're thinking about cheating happen, and I kind of want to define when it happens. Or
let's define what is cheating.
Yeah, and that's
because
the
you
thing.
have people that have these cyber
evolves.
Relationships. That
Yeah,
so
cheating has evolved over the course of history.
How do you define cheating in 2018?
It depends on the person, because I've heard or counseled couples.
Said it
yeah, I mean, I've counseled couples who have said that, hey, looking at another woman's picture is considered cheating, or
Well, I once created a spectrum in essence where we said sort of what are the realms, right? Because there are levels to it. So there's one thing, you went out to dinner, you're flirting, you're sending pictures, she's sending you pictures, you're at this person's house, versus like the ultimate, you're in the bed where we lay down. So it's definitely different ways. And then there's also the difference between physical infidelity and emotional. Because research says that for women and men, sometimes it's harder for women to get over the emotional infidelity than the physical. You said this, where it's like I can rationalize you on a work trip one night versus for the last 10 months you've been sending her all these personal letters and all these things. So it's different things that for different people hurt worse.
What do you think about that, Pat?
I mean, I'm kind of on a different spectrum. I think that any conversation that's inappropriate or intimate is cheating.
How about this definition, which we heard on previous Love Soldiers, that if you're doing something that the person who is your main, your partner, you would be embarrassed that they found out about or saw you doing, that's considered cheating. Anais, is that too broad?
I agree with that.
I don't think it's considered cheating when you just want to have a hot thing, a moment thing going on. Like as a female,
a moment thing meaning like a moment thing with sex,
as long as I don't know, and I was not in town and I haven't been in town, like me, I have to promote my album 3 months in Mexico, and you want to get your hot thing going on for a second, but like she said, don't exchange no emotions, like no text, no you look nice.
But does that really work? That's like the road code for professional athletes.
It's not cheating to me.
I love your definition, Lisa, because it definitely, I think sometimes there are so many types, but to get back to your original question, what is cheating? It is that distrust. It is anything that I don't know, that you don't feel comfortable telling me, that if he told me, you would like feel away, because all it is splitting us apart. So
but Charreah, take us back to your experience where you're in a you're you think you're the main, you think you're his main woman, and then you find out
Google
you're the side.
tells you that
Google told you.
Google.
But what did you? But share with us what you learned. And I know there was a number of years ago. But share with us.
No, finding out you were the other woman.
Yeah, like what does that do?
It definitely rocks. To your point earlier, it rocks your trust in that person, but it also can rock your trust in yourself, because we know a woman's intuition is strong. So in that instance, it was someone who was a professional athlete. So in some ways, I didn't want to feel like I was trying to hunt him down and search everything out and trying to see who was in my
And
face.
another thing, cheating can also make you change how you look at love. Like, I used to look at love way differently way before I got cheated, or I thought, or whatever. He said he didn't, but to me, he did. I don't look at love the same way no more.
On a happy note, do you believe in love?
Always.
Pat?
Absolutely.
Anais?
Not really.
Oh yes, she does. We're gonna work on her.
And Jack, you obviously believe in love.
Absolutely. I think love is the best thing ever. I think it's one of the most powerful forces on the face of this planet. Love and story. And I think that we're gonna change your love story in the next 6
Well, we're just about out of time, but I want to say love is the answer.
Always.
Jack A. Daniels, thank you so much for being with us.
This
we
was
appreciate
great.
it.
Thank you for having me.
Anais, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Pat McCall, great to have you.
Thanks for having us.
And Charreah Jackson, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you all for watching and listening to this episode of Street Soldiers. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. Remember, use your mind. It's your best weapon. I hope it's your only weapon. Let's push for peace and love.